Ashes of Creation Alpha 2 map is huge.
As a perfectly hinged, balding, middle-aged man sitting around poring over a game that quite literally doesn't exist, you can imagine a lot of productive and reasonable discussion happens during our daily streams over at twitch.tv/Narcoverse. Yeah.
Yep, that seems about right, believable and accurate. Who can even say otherwise?
Yes, quite right, sir. We're undoubtedly the pinnacle of washed-up MMORPG boomers, and as such, we've discovered quite a lot of interesting pieces of information related to the upcoming Alpha 2. But before we get into that, our beautiful patrons and coped out, we spent an unreasonable amount of time hacking
No need to thank me. Of course I skipped that intro.
into the Alpha 2 map. How did we do this, I hear you ask? Well, we basically stitched together every single minimap and created a geographically accurate representation of the Riverlands. And oh boy, this reveals a lot more than we originally anticipated. And you know, maybe this game does actually exist, and I'll explain why in today's video. Now, with all that
Looks kinda cool, yeah.
bollocks out of the way, let's begin, shall we? So, as mentioned in the intro, we've spent a fair amount of time on stream trying to piece together the Riverlands using notable points of interest on the horizons of the last 18 to 20 months of show.
Okay, this already looks different from the last time we saw it. So, one of my biggest critiques of Ashes of Creation was the fact that it looks bad when you're just running sometimes. Especially with a mace, how they ran, it was just absolutely pathetic. And again, no game that has bad looking run mechanics and basic auto attack mechanics ever survives long. aka they just fade into oblivion in a week or two. Because no one wants to play a game where, you know, 99% of the time you're moving and jumping and auto-attacking, and that looks sad and bad. So this already looks pretty decent. This looks better than previously. Big win.
Showcases. Therefore, I'll warn you now that this video
And the jumping looks okay.
is gonna be fucking insane. But if you're still watching my descent into madness as Steven Sharif edges us into the most orgasmic MMO experience for quarter 3, then like the ones who turn up to watch my streams,
You're lost. Give up. The copium has consumed you.
Anyway, before we jump into the madness head first, to start with, I want to anchor you into reality using 4 particular in-game points of interest. The Tower of Coffin, seen across basically all live streams.
Well, look at that. It's a broken moon type of thing. That's cool. Look at that.
Basically all live streams. The Winstead node, first shown during the village update, the Miraleth node, shown during the caravan showcase, and finally, the tank stream, arguably the most important point of interest out of these 4. And I'll explain why in a moment, because before we get into that, you need some context. The tank showcase back in January.
Yeah, look at this. This was the old running with the mace. Oh, it looked so bad. It was just sad. Again, there is no such thing as a game that survives if the running animations and auto-attack animations are bad. It just doesn't exist.
Was received very poorly. So poorly, in fact, that the team had to re-record the whole thing, and I suspect that led to this little slip-up that I'm about to show you. Now, this was the only showcase that the team opened up their world map to show their exact location. So we can use this as our base for distance and points of interest within the Riverlands itself, as indicated by various markers. You see, there was one particular object in the distance that really piqued my interest.
I don't see anything.
And I don't think it was intended to be shown, as you can only notice it for a very split second. There, did you?
No? What was? Oh, that's just my monitor being. That's just something on my monitor.
Did you catch that? Allow me to play it one more time. There it is. No, you don't see it? Well, that's probably because you're not
cleaning my
pathetically-
monitor. Relax, dude. Like, Jesus, give me a break. I didn't even know there's something on there. Ugh.
User whose life revolves around a game that quite literally doesn't exist. If you pause the footage on this exact frame, you can see something
Oh, there's something there.
very interesting in the distance. A floating statue of some kind, but a
Statue?
Statue of what, I hear you ask? If you triangulate where they are on their map using the compass to understand which way he was facing when the statue was in shot, you'll discover that it was towards the alien capital city, or the human starting zone for Alpha 2. Cross-referencing this with quite recent concept art, we can see that their city does indeed have floating statues. Is this the horse? Well, people in my chat argued it was not, and actually looks more like a lion. And you know,
Oh yeah, it does actually look like something on 4 legs at least.
I tend to agree. So I dived a little deeper and discovered this. Boom! Within the starting zone of the Riverlands, there is a floating lion.
Where? I don't see it. Do you see it? Why am I acting like this is 3D?
You can't see it? Here, I'll outline it for you.
Oh, true.
Perfection.
Therefore, conclusion is, this is proof that even as far back as January 2023, the majority of the Riverlands is probably already finished, and this bodes very well for the longevity of Alpha 2. But that's merely the pastry that lines this fine
Oh, look at him run with the hammer. It's just so bad.
dessert, my friends, because all throughout the last 10 months, we can actually apply a lot of interesting context to the rest of the Riverlands as well. As mentioned before, the tank stream is merely the primary anchor that sets the stage for what's to come, and our next task was to connect this location to the rest of the Riverlands. And we did this using one simple trick: autism. For you see, during the
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense, honestly. 10 out of 10 with autism again. It's true.
caravan stream, we used a singular group of pixels from the minimap to connect this location to the caravan stream. Yes, you heard that right. I told you it was pure autism, but allow me to explain. You see, these ruins and the trees around them connect perfectly with a frame from the caravan stream. And by
True.
using this, we can resize the minimap cluster to fit the context of the world and then stitch together the whole of the caravan stream's minimaps. This gives us context of this whole area of the Riverlands, including the Winstead node, the Mirrorleft node, the tank showcase, the cleric
That does work. Yeah.
location, and the Tower of Carfin. But the beauty of this is that if you use that original world map from the tank showcase, everything lines up perfectly with the icons. Winstead node, Tower of Carfin, Mirrorleft, the cleric livestream, oh my god, it completely blows my mind. Now,
Yeah, that does seem to make sense. True.
to
Cool.
finish us up, there are 3 showcases that don't have definitive connections. The
Oh yeah, this is just a random place in the forest, looks like. You can't see anything on the minimap.
beautiful pine forest and graveyard zones shown from November 2022. The freehold location seems to be fairly disconnected, and the mage showcases marshy hills hosting a dungeon called the Halls of Judication cannot be connected using the minimaps. However, you can connect the mage's particular location, as the floating rocks during the village stream are also seeable from the mage's.
Are those the same rocks, though? I mean, it looks like this game has a lot of floating rocks, so there you kind of have it. Huh. Looks very interesting. Is it? Hard to tell. It looks like it's the same type of foliage, so it could honestly be, but from this side you see cliffs. Okay, so this seems a little bit more off, I would say. It's kind of hard to say. Maybe it is the same, but you see this? This looks kind of big, and unless if this is behind the building here, it's not the same place.
location. And this
And it's not going forward, so maybe it's not. Because this looks kind of not that far away from the rocks, so if he sees the rocks here, chances are you should be able to see whatever this is here, if that's true. Also, these rocks are way closer to this, which means that maybe this place is here, or here-ish. It does. You see these trees here? These trees could be these trees. But if that's the case, then you definitely would see this here. or this. I don't know if this is the same place. Also, this looks like something floaty rock in the middle and then there's rocks around. I don't think this is the same place.
Is the beauty of what I want to discuss today. The Riverlands is huge. Just this biome in itself is almost as big as New World's map alone.
Well, yeah. Ashes of Creation touted that they're gonna be like the biggest thing ever, and well, that's cool. If they fill it with good stuff, that is obviously. Yeah, Ashes of Creation said that their maps are gonna be big. Their stuff is gonna be ginormous and whatnot. So yeah.
And that is something you can.
Also, man, New World is kind of small, honestly. You can run from one side to the other side relatively fast, right? I don't know how long it would take, but not that long.
Very clearly see in today's video. The scale and level of detail this world has is already at a level that competes with our currently popular MMOs. And this game hasn't even entered its playable alpha phase yet. Isn't that crazy?
I hope it can't compete with World of Warcraft. And the reason why I say that, by the way, is very simple. I don't want anyone to compete with the level of detail and scale with World of Warcraft, because World of Warcraft's scale and detail is nonsensical garbage that makes people hate the game, okay? World of Warcraft makes this whole giant map, and only, it's this big, and only this small place ever matters. And 1 month later, a patch comes out where this small place no longer matters, and there's now this super small place that only matters. And World of Warcraft is too detailed. Every single location you go to and look at is just cluttered with too much things. There's a road in the middle of nowhere. Do you know what it has? Railings. Railings for some reason. There's railings. Why? What kind of, why are there railings? Why is there a fence on the side of the road? How does this make sense? And that's World of Warcraft. It's just oversaturated with things. It doesn't look natural at all. It looks oversaturated, and I hate it. So yeah, this I like though. It's realistic-ish.
Isn't that crazy? It's been long said that Intrepid have not been showing us everything, and I think this is pretty obvious proof that actually the Riverlands zone has been finished for a very long time, at least geographically, and I'd argue the exact same thing for the desert biome as it was shown in a pretty complete state during the trailer last year too. The current understanding of Alpha 2 is that it's going to feature at least 2 large zones, the Riverlands and the desert, but Stephen has hinted at other possible areas as well.
So basically what you're seeing here is,
no one comes out with only 2 zones. No one comes out with only 2 areas. There must be a third one.
Alpha 2 is going to have a pretty significant cross-section of different biomes. The 2 primary ones that Alpha 2 is going to contain are going to be forests, riverlands, and desert, right?
We have a lot of zones that are planned for Alpha 2. Not all of them will be online by the time Alpha 2 launches, but they will be continuously integrated and launched as part of Alpha 2 continuing forward. The big areas obviously are the Riverlands, the Badlands, the Sandsquall Desert, the Tropics, the forest areas, some of the tabletop mountains and the tundra and ice areas.
Which is super exciting, but when asked to confirm this, instead of just straight telling us, he decides to edge us just that little bit more, the cheeky rascal. No, but seriously, please tell us what the fuck we're getting for the launch of Alpha 2, I'm begging you, man. And hey, actually, if you guys want to help uncover...
Hey, makes sense. That's not an unreasonable thing to ask for.
This mystery, you can ask this question for the Q&A segment every single month until they finally answer it. But
when are they gonna release the game? And that's pretty much it. That was Narc, boys. What a time to be alive. But yeah, Ashes of Creation, it's gonna be good. I am mostly interested in the multi-class system. Dude, I want to mix my rogue with a warlock and stuff like that. That will be awesome. And a big land, crafting matters, economy. You can play the economy. You can do all sorts of things. It's going to be really good. And a lot of stuff looks good. Admittedly, I really want them to fix the running animations with the swords. The running animations with the bow look fine. But, you know, mace is how it looks like. It's a paper mace and that hand looks awkward. Oh, it is just absolutely such a disappointment when that happens. Where is the... Oh, here it is.
Task was to connect...
Yeah, look at this. It looks so stupid. It looks so bad running with the mace. Again, there has never been a single game ever made that that stays popular, that people don't abandon after a week or two if it has bad run animations. Every single game that I have played that has bad run animations, bad jumping animation, and feels awkward and clunky just to do those things, people abandon. Because people, that when you're playing an mmorpg, 99% of what you do in that game is just run and maybe attack. That's it. That's literally the whole game. And if that fundamental aspect of the game is bad, like running with a mace that we have seen multiple times look absolutely atrocious, unbelievable, disgusting, and repulsive, it's not gonna last.
And our next task was to
Look at this, it's so awkward.
connect this location to the
Sad.
rest of the Riverlands. And we did this using one simple trick.
Just sad. But yeah, amazing stuff. Look at this. Looks kind of good. Looks kind of good. That's a lot of stuff also. I kind of like it. Well, anyway, let's hope Dashes of Creation 2 is going to be a ginormous win, boys. Because, well, I want it, you want it, everyone wants it. It is what it is. Anyway, this was Quizzer Said, and thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.